Welcome to the It's Your Fate podcast. Conversations to guide your steps and light your path in deciding your definite major purpose. I'm your host, Lefford Fate. Hello, this is Lefford Fate, and in this series of 17 podcast episodes, which is hosted by my good friend and colleague Mike Saunders, you're going to learn about the principles to a positive mental attitude.
Welcome back. Today we have with us Napoleon Hill certified leader John Raniola, who's talking about principle number 9, which is self-discipline. John, welcome to the program.
Thank you, and I want to thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Let's get right into self-discipline because I feel like discipline is a really self-explanatory term, but then when you layer in self-discipline, there's that level of accountability and action that comes to light. So give us a little bit of background and definition of what self-discipline is, and then why is it so relevant for today?
To me, self-discipline is, and as Napoleon Hill touches on it, it is to control your mind, to control your thoughts, and to control your actions. If you cannot control your actions or your mind or your thoughts, you're not going to be able to control your reality or how you vision life and everything else, your perspective in life.
Yeah, that's so important to be able to recognize that. And it kind of makes me think about like awareness, because you can say we need to control our mind, but how does being self-aware tie into that as well?
Well, what happens is you start realizing when you're having something going on, and a lot of people their lives are spiraling out of control on a negative. They're not even witnessing that their lives are being lived out. And once you know how to control your mind or to control your thoughts, and you're disciplined in that, you're able to shut down those negative thoughts and actually shift your thoughts and your actions towards your goals, or just to be a happier person, or to be, just to change the circumstances that are happening. Like a lot of people will get into this negative spiral control where everything will just spin out of control, and things just get worse and worse. And if you're able to train your mind to actually understand that this is happening to you and able to shift your focus, you can get yourself out of most negative situations.
Yeah, when you think about the world we live in today and how really busier we all are, and you think about when Napoleon Hill wrote his laws and principles back in, 2030s, 40s, it was a different lifestyle. How do you feel that today people that are so crammed with busyness, technology, and really overwhelming themselves, how do you advise people to kind of be that present, watch for their attitudes so that they can start applying that self-discipline as it relates to just the busyness of today?
First, I want to touch on something. Napoleon Hill's philosophy is not just about society and, the things that are around and business, and, it's about life. It's about the mind, and it's the war of life and success and how one lives their life. So with his philosophy from the 20s to now is somewhat the same, as just the society changed a little. So we have to adapt a little. The things that I have found a lot is that we have 24-hour news on every day, and it is just feeding people negative, anger, hate. I mean, very rarely you'll see something positive on the news. And people are watching this day in and day out for hours straight. They wake up in the morning and they listen to us. And they can't even, and I believe it's a fear that they don't want to listen to themselves, that they don't want to face themselves. So they go right in, then they have to listen to noise. And it blocks out, from yourself. And you're actually forming a mindset through that. Watching that news and all that negative. And to top it off, I walked in the gym this morning, And everywhere I go, I can't even shut off the gym. The news is on every wall. Every time I turn to the left, right, look up, or go on the treadmill, there's a TV with the news on every single equipment. So you're not even people aren't even shutting down at the gym anymore.
Yeah.
They are just listening, and I don't want to say it, but they're somewhat being programmed by the media, by the news. And then I don't even want to, I'll even touch on that on top of it, is on top of the news, all you're watching is medication commercials. One medication commercial after this, after that. And when you start understanding how powerful the mind is, you understand that what you hear often, you start believing. So when you start repeating this medication commercial, oh, you have this, do you have this, do you have that? Some people, I believe, are actually creating a lot of these illnesses through their minds. And so this is actually developing people, I believe, to get illnesses, things like that.
And the other aspect of that is it's just treating the symptom and not the source.
Exactly. If you have self-discipline on your habits and your patterns on life, you can change a lot of illnesses, because the illnesses many of them are caused by your habits, your thought patterns, and everything else. We are really making ourselves mentally ill, and by being mentally ill, we are also becoming physically ill.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people would say, if they were asked, they would check the box, yes, I have self-discipline, I'm disciplined. But I feel like it's just scratching the surface. So what misconceptions do you find that are out there surrounding self-discipline?
Well, when I was growing up, or before I actually got into this philosophy, I thought discipline was to work really hard, punish myself, and, really do things to the extreme. But once you start learning starting to learn how to control, your disciplines, you start realizing that the real thing that is controlling people is the fight within. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm going to get to it. What I'm trying to say is the most strenuous conflict that anyone will face will be the one from within. And if they lack self-discipline, they will never, ever be able to overcome the person within that is holding them back. And I believe that that's the biggest misconception, is that we think we have to work hard, we have to do this. But it really is, we have to get self-discipline over our minds, how we talk to each other, how we act.
And then that carries over into other areas of our life, right? Because if you are exhibiting self-discipline over your mind, that carries over to self-discipline into your body, and that carries over into self-discipline into your finances and so forth.
Yes, I totally agree, because once you start self-discipline in your mind and you can start focusing, you could get into where everything just starts to fall into place. You're actually becoming a better person, a better man.
I'm sure that you have not implemented self-discipline your entire life, so at some point you started becoming aware of this and putting this into action. What were some of the positive changes you experienced personally and professionally when you started really implementing self-discipline into your life?
Yes, all my life I was born into a very negative outlook in life, where I had parents that believed everyone was already successful, no one could become successful anymore. And I was talked a lot out of, going after my dreams and things like that. And I had to do this myself. So that was one thing, was getting the strength and the power to be alone on my journey. Going towards my dreams or figuring out what my dreams were, just overcoming my fears, my personality, everything. I mean, really, I changed my whole life and everything about my life, physically, mentally, inside and out. I transformed from a negative mental attitude into a positive mental attitude. This wasn't something simple. This actually took years and years of fighting. Like I said before, we fight ourselves. So I could have got a lot more ahead, but I fight myself. I fight the old me that wants to come back, which I actually talk a lot about past generations and things like that. So self-discipline doesn't only overcome your negativity, your anger, your way of looking at life, because your past generation has created that into you. So you're actually going back there, disciplining your ancestors, and you're changing the whole outlook of your whole family for the future. If not, if for yourself, your surroundings, everything.
Yeah.
So I actually, go ahead, sorry.
Kind of like breaking the chain.
Yes. I mean, I transformed my past generation's belief system. Just to, I self-disciplined myself to overcome the fear to quit my job and to do something totally new, which was outrageous.
Huh. That's neat. Hey, I'm sure you work with other clients or even friends or contacts. What have you seen when you started teaching them this principle? Can you share an example of how someone overcame obstacles in their life?
Yes. I know I apologize on the nervousness. I don't know why I'm nervous. But yes, when you start, when I actually teach a way of silencing the mind, where you actually shut off the negative thoughts and actually reverse them into something positive. So with that, when I teach people that, they actually start getting the disciplines of their thoughts, because most people are going around with their thoughts running themselves, and most of them are negative. And if we don't know how to control them, they could run for days without us even having focus on that. And if we learn how to stop it, like I teach my students, it's one of the first lessons I try to teach is to learn how to sit down. Well, you know what? We're going to go on the tools later with that one.
Can you think of a specific time where you worked with someone that came through kind of your process and they commented or exclaimed, boy, I never knew that I was not applying self-discipline, but I feel, such a transformation?
I will go as far as just putting a comment on like Facebook. I actually received this one day. I put a comment up. I didn't think anything of it. And it changed someone's life. Just one simple comment. And this person actually came to me and said that they were, I don't want to get into too many words, but they were really having deep, deep issues. And they said that my post actually changed their perspective. And they changed their whole lives. I actually watched them grow now on Facebook, and I'm really impressed, how they change their life over one quote. So there is a lot when you can change. Self-discipline is changing your whole lifestyle, your whole world, everything around you, your surroundings. Because when you start disciplining everything, you start changing your attraction, and then that attraction actually returns back to you. So what's happening is, by teaching them to control their thoughts or to shut down the negative, they're finding that they no longer fit in that negative surrounding anymore, that they are growing out of that negative surrounding, and they do not want to be around those people anymore because they're starting to drain them. I've learned that years ago. on my journey because all I knew was negative. I didn't know anyone positive. I didn't know anyone successful. This was something all new to me. Even on my journey, I watched people that I believed were successful to find out they weren't successful, especially in the mind.
Do you find that when people start taking baby steps and seeing some slight improvement, that motivates them to take that next step, and then they get a little bit more improvement, and then that kind of amplifies upon itself, whereas it's not an overnight transformation. You don't flip a switch.
Yes, I totally agree. There's a lot of things going out there where a lot of people believe that success is going to come overnight. There's a magic tool or some kind of magic potion or some secret. The thing is you have to do this in little steps. You're transforming generations of thought patterns, and it's not going to happen overnight, and it's going to happen in little baby steps, because you have to, little by little, travel towards a better you. And if you don't, I believe a lot of people get lost focusing on the big tools to success that a lot of people are selling out there. And if people just sit back and go, okay, let's do the simplest tool possible. Because I tell people, when they're looking to do something, I ask them, I go, what's the simplest tool that they could do? I actually had this, there was a lady that wanted to open up a business. I'm not going to go in details. So I asked her, what is the simplest thing to do? And she said, I don't know, I need a website. I'm like, okay, so tonight, go out on the internet and get a .com name. Mm-hmm. I go, I don't care if it's right or wrong, just get a .com name. And that lady said to me, she goes, what is that going to do? I go, you just got rid of step 1. Now you can concentrate on step 2. And as you're going down on your steps, if you want to change your .com name, who cares? It's only, $10 or a few dollars just to buy a .com name. But to take that step and to get your focus out of step 1, and then you start focusing it onto step 2, start step 3. And I will tell you, when you start taking these small steps, they will start taking a life of their own. They will start getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you'll want to challenge yourself more and more, because you're going to see what you're becoming. You're becoming something powerful. Your energy is rising. And you're just growing faster and faster and faster. And once you tap into this, you are not going to want to be around the old you anymore. And you're going to want to learn, get as much knowledge as possible, and get out there and grow. As Napoleon Hill put it, think and grow rich.
So, John, at some point you were not a Napoleon Hill certified leader. What was it that inspired you to look into the program, and what words of advice would you give to others that are looking into it as well?
Tell you the truth, it wasn't something I was looking to be certified. It was something I was, like before I said, I was seeking knowledge. I was seeking wisdom. There was something in Napoleon Hill's writing that was guiding me back to Napoleon Hill. And one night I sat at the computer, and I'm like, I was confused about my journey. I got stuck. And I'm like, what am I missing? What am I missing? And I started researching Napoleon Hill, self-development books, and everything again. And that's where I came across the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And then I went on there, and I looked at it, and I said, you know what? I am going to do this. This sounds challenging. I want to do this. I will tell you, this was not the easiest thing for me. I had to overcome a lot. I did not like to read. I did not like to study, and I was never good at school. So I had to sit down and take these courses, which was amazing, because it taught me self-discipline. It taught me about this, and it reshaped my mind. And I'll even talk about the time that it was the next day. I looked on the website. I'm like, all right, let me call up. And I called Don Green, the CEO of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And when I talked to him, I didn't even know he was a CEO. Talking to him made me feel like I was one with him. That it wasn't like I was scared that this was a big CEO or anything like that. And when I really talked to him, we went mind to mind, and it was an amazing thing. And I think that also drove me too, is because I realized that there was something there that I was missing that I had to find. And just that mind to mind where you can have a positive conversation with someone was amazing to me. And that's what really drew me into the certificate. Now, going after this, doing all this studying and getting certified is opening up my world to a totally different thing. Because I didn't do this to teach others, to guide others. I did this to guide myself to become a better person. It's just so happened now that I know I could see what's holding people down. So I know now how I can teach them to get out of that lifestyle, that situation. And that's where, if you want to really dig deep into this philosophy, I would totally recommend anyone to take the certificate and then go out there, meet the Napoleon Hill Foundation in Virginia or wherever they're having their classes, see what kind of people they are. Because I am telling you right now, these people want you to think for yourself and want you to create your dreams, your passions, and they're not going to force things onto you like I believe there's a lot of other people out there that would do that. This is a real, genuine foundation, and I'm really ecstatic and really happy to be a part of it.
Well, John, we've been talking about self-discipline and how powerful and vital that it is in so many areas of our life. What would you recommend someone that takes the first step? How could they start implementing this into their lives?
Okay, like I was talking before, it's the baby steps. These are the things that people are missing, and these are the things that are going to transform your life the best. These are the steps that I had to do, and these are the steps I teach people. And I know that they're going to say it's silly and whatnot, but this is very powerful, and this really needs to become very disciplined and become a ritual. Number one, you have to smile more and be over polite. So when you're going through a doorway, you smile, you say thank you, you say you're welcome. You just be very over polite, and you will see, you will actually shock people. And people will be like, whoa, what's going on here? Because they're not used to seeing this. But I will tell you, as you start changing your smile, just a simple smile and being over polite, you are going to start changing your world. You're starting to shift your world. So you're going to already start seeing more and more positive people going past you in that doorway. And you're not going to get that negative person that's angry. I don't know how it's like. It is like magic, like the negative people fade away. So the other thing is learn to accept a thank you. There's a lot of people going out there doing, helping people out and things like that. I used to say it myself. They would say, oh, thank you. And I'd be like, no, thank you. Mm-hmm. You have to learn how to accept the welcome, because that is everything in life, is you have to accept it. Really, if we look deep into it, a lot of people, we are accepting negative or we're accepting positive. So accepting a thank you starts to develop you to accepting things. And you start changing your energy on that, so which you start developing. The next thing is change the words you speak. Now, I know people are going to be like, oh, I have to learn the dictionaries, this and that. Well, number one, stop cursing. Cursing's negative energy and draws negative people to you. So number one, you have to get rid of cursing. But that's not even what I'm talking about. I am talking about the words that you say to yourself. This is a test I do to everyone, and I know exactly where they are. I ask them, how are you? And when their answer comes back, I'm fine, or they want to tell me their whole life story that, everything's falling apart, I know that these people I don't want to be around with. Now, if someone goes, oh, I'm great, I'm doing phenomenal, I'm doing fantastic, now you know that they're on their journey. Mm-hmm. They're not negative anymore, they're positive. Even if they're faking it in the beginning, because you have to fake it in the beginning. And the other thing that you have to make sure of is that you go out there and say it. I am phenomenal. And do not feel bad about harming other people or making other people feel bad because they're not doing so great or they're not happy with life. You have to let that go because this is developing the self-discipline and the power and the energy within. So you have to go out there and say you're doing great, say you're doing phenomenal, and just let the negative people go. Let them fade away. Okay. Next one is create an affirmation. So on the same kind of thing is learning what to say to yourself. Now this is a very powerful thing. This is the I am. Everything after I am, I become. So what happens is you have to make this very powerful. It has to be I am as the moment as of now. So I am wealthy. I am a millionaire. I am healthy. I am this. I made this mistake in the beginning where I use my affirmation as I am going to be. I am going to be. And you cannot do that. It has to be I am now. We are disciplining our minds to create this world for us.
That's big.
Yes, this philosophy is very powerful. And when you get self-discipline, your mind really, and your world just really spirals into a positive. Okay. Next one is have a definite major purpose. Now, if you do not have a definite major purpose, because like me and many other people, they are confused. They don't know what their purpose is. They are living other people's ideas or other people's thoughts. So do not worry about it. Just make yourself your definite major purpose. Now, again, start with little steps, but you have to write it down. You have to write down your definite major purpose, and you have to read it every morning, every night as a ritual. It has to become a ritual. You have to read it every morning, every night. This is training your subconscious mind to start thinking more positive and to start working for your purpose. Because your mind is very powerful, and it will show you the way. It's you that has to get out of its way, and you have to get yourself there. But your mind will show you the way, and this is the beginning of telling your mind what you want and what you want to develop in life.
Excellent. Great.
Now, also, I just got to put this in, I'm sorry. This is very important too. Put this, your definite major purpose on a piece of paper, hang it on the wall. Hang it up in the bathroom if you have to. Even if you have to put a little clip on the shower door so you can read it while you're taking a shower. Put it everywhere you can see it so your subconscious mind and your mind starts to develop it.
John, such powerful concepts on self-discipline and baby steps of how to easily start implementing it. So thank you so much. What's the best way that someone can reach out and connect with you?
I have a website. It's returningtosuccess.com. It's returning the number sign to success.com. Or you can get me at returningtosuccess@gmail.com. And I believe if you further, I believe there will be, Mike, is there going to be more information on the book with that?
Yes, we'll have all of that. So that's excellent contact information. We'll get right onto your website, and people can email you as well. Thank you so much for your time today, John. It was really great learning about this principle of self-discipline.
No problem. Thank you. And I apologize. I don't apologize. It was a little rough start, but it worked out good.
You've been listening to the It's Your Fate podcast. To connect with me and pick up a copy of one of my books, please visit www.leffordfate.com. That's leffordfate.com. You've met your fate. Now let's walk into your destiny.